Following is the 2017-2018 Rules PowerPoint developed by the National Federation of High Schools. Before we start the presentation, let me clarify. This is not the forum for discussion as to why we like or dislike the rule. This is a presentation identifying specifically how the NFHS expects rules to be administered and enforced during the 2017-2018 wrestling season. Rule 4-1-1A through C, Uniforms. This rule change clarifies the criteria for an alternative uniform. The traditional one-piece singlet is still legal. As part of the alternative uniform, compression shorts or shorts designed for wrestling are now legal. Both must have a minimum 4-inch inseam and shall not extend below the knee. Both must have an elastic waistband, and neither may have exposed belt loops, drawstrings, zippers, snaps, buttons, or pockets. They must be school issued. Board shorts are legal for use as shorts designed for wrestling if they meet all listed requirements and are school issued. Rule 4-1-2 is still in effect. It requires any manufacturer's logo, trademark, or reference that appears on the uniform to be no more than 2 1/4 square inches. Shorts designed for wrestling may be worn over the singlet. They must be school issued with a minimum 4-inch inseam. As part of the alternate uniform, a compression shirt is now legal. A form-fitted compression shirt shall not cover or extend below the elbow and shall have a minimum 3-inch tail. The form-fitted compression shirt may be worn under a singlet or with compression shorts or shorts designed for wrestling. The form-fitted compression shirt shall be school issued. In the case of a compression shirt which is excessively baggy, as determined by the official, the uniform will not be considered legal. Since form-fitted compression shirts are now legal, the reference to the referee determining sufficient reason to be worn has been eliminated. The rule still allows for full-length tights with stirrups to be worn with the one-piece singlet. The rule is specific in stating compression shorts or shorts designed for wrestling shall have a minimum 4-inch inseam that shall not extend below the knee. Shorts designed for wrestling shall have an elastic waistband and a drawstring that is not exposed. Compression shorts, or shorts designed for wrestling, shall not have exposed drawstrings, belt loops, zippers, snaps, buttons, or pockets. A suitable undergarment, which completely covers the buttocks and groin area, must be worn under shorts designed for wrestling. Shorts designed for wrestling may be worn over the singlet. Compression shorts, or shorts designed for wrestling, may be worn with a form-fitted compression shirt. Compression shorts, or shorts designed for wrestling, shall be school issued. A form-fitted compression shirt which shall not cover or extend below the elbow and shall have a minimum 3-inch tail is legal. The form-fitted compression shirt may be worn under a singlet or with compression shorts or shorts designed for wrestling. The form-fitted compression shirt shall be school issued. Please be aware that full-length tights with stirrups are only allowed for use with a properly cut singlet. Full-length tights with stirrups are not identified as legal for use with any uniform combination that includes the compression shirt, compression shorts, or shorts designed for wrestling. This photo identifies the possible alternative uniform combinations. Rule 4-5-3, Weight Management. This rule change modifies what is appropriate and allowable in the designated weigh-in area. Specifically, during time off the scale or scales, activities that promote dehydration or weight loss are prohibited. Also, during time off the scale or scales, activities that promote weight gain are prohibited. The rule now reads, during time off the scale or scales, activities that promote dehydration, weight loss, or weight gain are prohibited. Simply, no weight-altering activity is allowed during time off the scale. Using the restroom is considered a weight-altering activity and is not allowed. Rules 5-11-1 and 5-11-5, the fall. These rules have been changed to clarify the definition of a fall and to modify the location of where a fall or near fall can be awarded. As a reminder, a fall occurs when any part of both shoulders or both scapula of either wrestler are in contact with the mat for 2 seconds. The shoulders or scapula must be held in continuous contact with the mat. There is no longer a requirement of both shoulders or both scapula having to be in bounds. The word in bounds has been removed from Rule 5-11-1. Referees must understand it is important they establish a protocol that permits wrestling to continue as long as either wrestler's supporting parts remain in bounds and as long as no body part of either wrestler goes off the mat. On page 23 of the rulebook, Article 5 should read, "A fall or near fall shall not be awarded if the wrestler being pinned is handicapped by having any portion of the wrestler's body off the mat." Please strike the wording "out of bounds" and replace with the wording "off the mat." Rule 5-15-2B and C, near fall and fall. This rule change clarifies the scoring of points in relation to the location on the mat. Near fall points or a fall shall be earned while the supporting points of either wrestler are in bounds. In this two-dimensional illustration, the knees are viewed as down on the mat, so near fall or fall can be earned. The supporting points of the offensive wrestler are in bounds. In the same three-dimensional photo, a fall or near fall can be earned because the offensive wrestler's knees are supporting points down on the mat. Rule 5-15-2A through C, near fall and fall. It is important to understand the definition of supporting points down on the mat. The rule reads, when down on the mat, the usual points of support are the knees, the side of the thigh, the buttocks, the hand or hands, and the head. The NFHS is specific in stating toes or feet are not to be considered supporting points down on the mat. Again, toes or feet are not to be considered supporting points down on the mat. Rule 5-15-2B reads, when the defensive wrestler is on his or her back while the supporting points of either wrestler are in bounds, wrestling shall continue. Deleted is the requirement of bringing the opponent back in bounds to earn near fall or a fall. Rule 5-15-2C reads, near fall points or a fall shall be earned while the supporting points of either wrestler are in bounds. Again, there is no longer the requirement of the defensive wrestler's shoulder or scapula having to be in bounds. In this photo, it is extremely important you understand what is being identified. As captioned, a fall or near fall can be earned because any part of the defensive wrestler's shoulder or scapula are in bounds. Even though the outside shoulder and scapula of the defensive wrestler are outside the boundary line, Rule 5-15-2B is clear in stating a fall or near fall should be awarded because any part of the defensive wrestler's shoulders or scapula are in bounds, meaning the defensive wrestler is considered to be in bounds. It is not required that both shoulders or both scapula of the defensive wrestler be inside the boundary line for the defensive wrestler to be considered in bounds. A fall or near fall can be earned because the offensive wrestler's buttocks are in bounds. The buttocks are the offensive wrestler's supporting points. A fall or near fall can be earned because the offensive wrestler's hips or thigh are supporting points down on the mat. As a reminder, supporting points are parts of the body touching the wrestling area which bear the wrestler's weight other than those parts with which the wrestler is holding the opponent. The wrestlers are out of bounds because toes or feet are not supporting points when down on the mat. Near fall points or a fall shall be earned only while the supporting points of either wrestler are in bounds. The wrestlers are out of bounds because the toes are not considered supporting points when down on the mat. The NFH has not adopted the NCAA out-of-bounds criteria or philosophy. The wrestlers are out of bounds because toes or feet are not supporting points when down on the mat. Once the wrestler comes off his or her knees onto his or her toes, the wrestler is considered out of bounds. Please note that on page 28 and 29 of the casebook, situations A and B have not been changed to reflect the new near fall and fall rules changes. The next series of photos will further address fall, near fall, and supporting points criteria. Near fall criteria has been met because any part of both shoulders or both scapula are being held within 4 inches of the mat or less. Near fall criteria has been met because one shoulder or scapula is touching the mat and the other shoulder or scapula is at an angle of 45 degrees or less. The referee must enforce the requirement of one shoulder or scapula touching the mat. Often that requirement is not met and the official mistakenly counts near fall. Near fall criteria has been met when the defensive wrestler is held in a high bridge. Near fall criteria has been met when the defensive wrestler is held on both elbows. This photo shows a situation where the match is to be stopped because any portion of the body is off the mat. That ruling is applied regardless if it is the offensive or defensive wrestler having any portion of the body off the mat. The knees are supporting points down on the mat. A fall or near fall can be earned. The side of the thigh is the supporting point down on the mat. A near fall or fall can be earned. The buttocks are the supporting points down on the mat. A near fall or fall can be earned. A takedown or reversal can be awarded. The match is to be stopped for out of bounds. Because control has been established with toes finishing down on the mat in bounds, a takedown or reversal is awarded. The match is stopped because only the toes are down on the mat in bounds, thus, out of bounds criteria has been met. The takedown or reversal is awarded because rulebook criteria have been met. If the potential scoring wrestler does not have full control, wrestling is not allowed to continue. That situation is to be stopped for out of bounds with no points being awarded. A reversal can be awarded. The match is stopped for out of bounds. Near fall or fall cannot be earned. A takedown or reversal would be awarded and the match stopped for out of bounds. Toes or feet are not supporting points when down on the mat. This photo demonstrates why toes or feet are not to be considered supporting points down on the mat. If toes or feet were considered supporting points down on the mat, it would allow for wrestling to occur on the edge of the mat. That is not the intent of the rule. Rule 5-19-10, Referee's Positioning. This rule change has modified the position of the referee when starting the match from the down position. The rule now reads, when starting contestants from the down position, the referee shall be in front of, stationary, and at an angle to the contestants. The referee should establish eye contact with the table. The referee no longer has the option to be behind the wrestlers when starting wrestling from the down position. That positioning does not allow the referee to establish eye contact with the table. Also, when the referee starts to move to go behind the wrestlers, there is a strong tendency for one or both wrestlers to false start. Rule 6-6-4A1, Dual Meet Scoring Errors. This rule change clarifies the process of correcting an error by the timekeeper, official scorer, or referee. The rule now reads, errors by the timekeeper, official scorer, or referee must be corrected prior to the offended contestant leaving the mat area and before the start of the next match on the mat, if additional wrestling is necessary. If additional wrestling is not necessary, the error may be corrected as long as the offended contestant or coach remains in the mat area after the match has concluded and before the start of the next match on the mat. Rule 6-6-5A1, Tournament Scoring Errors. The rule reads the same as was just reviewed for dual meet scoring errors. In both dual meets and tournaments, errors by the timekeeper, official scorer, and referee must be corrected before the start of the next match on the mat. Rule 7-1-2, Illegal Maneuvers. This rule change specifies that a straight back suplex and straight back salto are illegal regardless of which body part hits the mat first. The rule now reads, a full straight back suplex and straight back salto are illegal. Removed from the rule wording is the phrase, to the head. The straight back suplex and straight back salto are dangerous regardless of which body part, head, neck, or shoulders, hits the mat first. Rule 7-1-5W, Illegal Maneuvers. This rule change identifies a specific maneuver as illegal. A front flip and or front hurdle over an opponent in the standing position is illegal. This maneuver is commonly referred to as the flying squirrel. Key to the definition of this illegal maneuver is the phrase, from the standing position. The rule now specifies a front flip and or front hurdle over an opponent in the standing position is illegal. The NFHS states, the attempt to flip or hurdle your opponent from the neutral position is not only an elevated risk to the wrestler attempting the maneuver, it also places the opponent in a disadvantaged position as they are not only left to counter the scoring attempt, but they are also placed in a position of responsibility for not reacting in a manner that may cause a slam or unsafe return to the mat of the wrestler who actually initiated the maneuver. Rule 7-6-4D, Stalling. This rule change identified another determinant for stalling by the offensive wrestler. Staying behind your opponent while on your feet, making no attempt to bring the opponent to the mat, is stalling. The rule now specifies staying behind your opponent while on your feet, making no attempt to bring the opponent to the mat, is stalling by the offensive wrestler. It is not required the offensive wrestler bring his or her opponent back to the mat to avoid being warned or penalized for stalling. The offensive wrestler must only attempt to bring his or her opponent back to the mat. There is no specific time count, such as 5 seconds. In this situation, it is important to remember the defensive wrestler is still tasked with aggressively trying to escape or reverse. The defensive wrestler may not utilize a tactic designed to get the offensive wrestler penalized for stalling and not for the purpose of earning an escape or reversal. Such a tactic would be gaining hand control, eliminating the ability of the offensive wrestler to attempt a return without attempting to escape or reverse. Editorial changes. Rule 2-1-5. The location of wording where facilities permit was changed to provide clarification. Rule 5-11-5. As indicated earlier, the wording out of bounds was replaced with off the mat. Rule 5-16. The location of wording where facilities permit was changed to provide clarification. Illustration number 25. Change the wording striped to light in reference to wrestler's uniform. Illustration number 26. Change the wording striped to light in reference to wrestler's uniform. 2016-2017 Rule Change Reminders. Rule 511-2I. Clarified when a wrestler should be awarded penalty points if the defensive wrestler uses unethical techniques in a near fall or fall situation. Rule 7-2-2G and H. Clarified an additional potentially dangerous hold when an arm trap is applied from the standing position. And Rule 4-1-3. Clarified what is meant by laces properly secured. Colorado Rule Clarification. This statement will be concluded in the 2017-2018 CHASA Wrestling Bulletin. Starting this season, CHASA will allow videotaping from the mat surface. That video may not be used for review during the match. Videotaping may only occur from the coach's corner. Videotaping may only be done by the 2 team personnel permitted in chairs on the edge of the mat, and competitor safety is of utmost importance. No mounting device is allowed to be placed in front of the coach's chairs between them and the wrestling action. NFHS Points of Emphasis. The 2017-2018 Points of Emphasis can be found on page 57 of the Wrestling Rules book. Off the scale activities, we reviewed this with the rule change 4-5-3. Any activity that is conducted to either lose weight or gain weight is prohibited. Prevention of communicable skin conditions. This continues to be an area of concern. All of us must do our part in preventing the spread of communicable skin conditions. The referee should recommend or require cleaning of mats as he or she feels appropriate. The referee should not allow an individual to compete without properly completed medical release form signed by an authorized individual. If in doubt, hold them out. The referee can overrule a release form if he or she feels the condition is actively contagious. Braces that are properly padded and covered. The referee is the final authority on what is and what is not allowed. Know the rules and use the appropriate judgment when evaluating braces, taping, and padding. Stalemate and fleeing the mat. The stalemate call can be a referee's best friend. When opponents are interlocked and no wrestling is occurring, a stalemate should be called. Make the call and get wrestling going. Fleeing the mat is to be called without hesitation. When a wrestler leaves the mat or takes his or her opponent off the mat to avoid wrestling, fleeing is to be called. As a reminder, fleeing the mat is a technical violation and is not to be penalized as stalling. Illegality of straight back salto and supplé. This was presented with Rule Change 7-1-2. A coach may no longer argue the legality of a salto or supplé that did not go to the head. The straight back salto and supplé are illegal regardless of what body part hits the mat. Consistency of the start of each match. Simply, be competent, professional, and consistent at all times. Be consistently professional.